Welcome to the fastest daf in town. Today, Masechtas Taanit daf Chav Daled. We are going to begin on the very bottom of Chav Gimel Mebez. Rav Yosi bar Oven Havi Shchiach Kamed Rav Yosi Dimin Yukart. So he used to constantly be by Rav Yosi. Shavke, he left him. V'yasel Kamed Rav Ashi. And all of a sudden, he instead went to Rav Ashi. As we continue Chav Daled with Aleph, Yom Echad, one day, Shamadika Garis, he heard that he was learning. Amr Shmuel, and he said the following: Hashayil adugmen yom, person who takes a fish from the sea b'Shabbos, kivan shiyavash boi kasela chayiv. As soon as it dries up to the amount of the measurement of a sela, so then you're chayiv for the malacha, which is comparable to shchita, by taking this fish out. Amalei v'lei mamar ubein Napirov, you should say between the fins. Don't you know it was he that said this? That's me. This is surprising. Aren't you constantly by Rabbi Yossi? Yes. So why did you leave him? He said, because he did not show compassion to his own children, as we're going to see in the stories coming up. So certainly he's not going to have compassion on me. So therefore I didn't want to be able to learn by him. So what was the story of the sons? So what ended up happening is that there was, look at Rashi, that he was renting this item and he didn't bring bread. So so he said, Kafinan, I'm extremely hungry. So this little child, this maybe not so little, was sitting underneath a tree of dates. So Amr Te'ena Hoitzi Pirosayach. Let the fruit come out, even though it was not really supposed to happen. V'achu Puali Abba, and then this way these people will be able to eat it. Afiku v'achu, so it produced and they ate. So the father found out about this. Amalhu lo tinkatu b'dadaichu dahai dina gana a mitzvah terchana. He said that the reason why I was late is because I was engaged in a mitzvah. Says Rashi, al tachshaduni, don't suspect me. The reason why I didn't give them any food, our workers, is because I was busy doing something else. Yad hashtahu diskai, and how long are you going to be matriach? Says Rashi, terchisi v'yacharti sarmalei rachmana lisvach kehechi di asvan baruch. He said it's okay. May Hashem basically bless you, just like Hashem caused a blessing through your son. Sarmahu mehecha. Says, what are you talking about? What exactly happened? So this is the great miracle that happened with your son. You troubled Hashem by having him bring out these fruits before it's time. So you will also be gathered up. You will die before your time. Which is an extremely harsh thing to ever say to anyone, to say it about your own child. This is the reason why he said, I no longer want to frequent and learn by Rav Yosi ben Yukart. Okay. Barte Maihi, what did he say about his daughter? Havile Barta, which was Balas Yoifi. This is a very difficult Gemara to understand, and it certainly needs tremendous work. But I'm going to have to translate it the way it says. So he had a beautiful daughter. Yom Chad Chazuhu Gavra Kari Buhutza. He saw there was a man that was like staring through a broken fence. The Kachazilan, he was staring at this beautiful woman, which happened to be his daughter, this man's daughter. So my hi, what are you doing? So Rabbi, I know we'll be able to marry her. Can I at least be able to see her? So on this, Amrullah, he said, Biti, my daughter, Kamitsarislahu Libriasa. You're causing pain for people. Shuvli Afarayach, you should go back to the earth. That people should not stumble through you. Again, the tremendously difficult Gemara to even begin to understand that it's a woman's fault because she looks beautiful, that a man can't withstand his temptations. Obviously, we have to be able to understand this Gemara a lot better, exactly what was going on. So this great person, or again, difficult to understand how he treated his children, but he had a donkey. Kedahavi agrile, when it was rented out, kol yom urta, every day in the nighttime, havi mishadri lo agra gaba. They would put money on the back of the donkey, and it would just walk directly back to his master. The tafula or bitzrila, if let's say they gave too much or too little, then lo asya, the donkey just wouldn't come. Because again, it was related to this great tzaddik, almost like Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair's donkey. Yomachad inshus zuga de sandale Allah. There was a person's shoes that were left there. And again, the donkey didn't move until the rightful owner took those shoes off, and then it moved. Elazar ish birta. Now we're talking about someone else. The name of Elazar ish birta. Kad havichazule gabi tzedakah. Whenever he would see a person who was collecting charity, havitashumine, they used to hide from him. The choma de havi gabe yoivahu, because he used to give every penny that he had in his wallet. He had until he had nothing left. So therefore, they hid from him. Because they didn't want him to do that. Yom Echad havisal kushuka. He was in the marketplace, lemizman the dunya lebrate, in order to engage in a dowry, to get something for his daughter who's getting married. Chazuhu legabi sadaka tashmine. So they ran away. They hid from him. Azul, he went and Varat Basrai, who he chased after them. Marmahu, apparently he caught up to them, and he asked Elazar ish birta, ashbatichu b'mai askitu. You need to swear to me, what exactly are you engaged in? What are you collecting for? Sarmalei b'yasam yasayma. I'm collecting for a yasam and a yasayma, which is almost perhaps alluding to the fact that his own children are like a yasam and yasayma, in that they have nothing due to the father. They're before my daughter. Shakal kol dahavi bahadev yoivahu. He gave everything to them. Pashle chad zuza. He kept one coin for himself. Zavan lechiti. He bought some wheat. V'asik shadi ba'achlab, and he threw it into his storage house. Asu de besu. Amrullah lebrate. My Aisi avuch, what is going on with your father? Samullah koma di Aisi ba'akalba shadise. Whatever I bought, I put into the storage house. Asi lemiftach baba. They want to open up the door. The kalba, again, of the storage house. Chazis a kalba de malichite. Even though it was only one zuz, probably not much wheat at all of a sudden it was filled with wheat. The kanavka betzinur dedasha. They're to close the hinges of this threshing area of this door. But wasn't able to close. The door was jammed because there was so much wheat pouring out of the storage house. So Azlabarti lebemid Rasha. So where will her father be? He's in the base medrash. So she went there and Amalei boirei ma'asalacha ayhavcha. Come and see what Hashem, who loves you, has done. He's given you this great miracle of all this wheat. Armalah Havaida, I swear to you, Harahin Hektish Alayach Ve'inloch Bahen El Be'echad Mi Ani Yisrael. I am going to declare all of this as belonging to Hektish, and all we'll keep for ourselves is that for someone who is extremely poor, just enough to survive. Yehuda Nasiya, the great Yehuda Nasi, goes at Tinisa, Boyrach Mabel Asimitra. So even though they made a decree for fasting, the rain did not come. Amar Kalma Ika Mishmul Haramasi Yehuda ben Gamliel. He said, look at the huge difference between Yehuda Hanasi, which is referring to himself, and Shmuel Haramasi. Says Rashi, Shiyardin Geshamim B'Shviloi, that the rain fell down in the honor of Shmuel. However, when it came to Rabbi Yehuda, you can cry all you want. The Leika de Mishkach, Rashi says, no one pays attention. Oy loy lador, woe to the generation, shachein niska, that so it is stuck with. Oy lami also b'yom of kach, woe is to who that has gone up in his days like this. Cholosh daiti v'yasam mitra, and once he started feeling bad, then all of a sudden the rain came. Debei nesiya gazar tenisa, v'loi oidinhu Rav Yochanan or Shlakish l'safra oidinhu. They didn't tell him right away, but in the morning they informed them. So Rav Yochanan haloi kablina alwan mu'orta. How is this an acceptable fast for you? Because you didn't accept it the night. The night before. So Amulei Anan Basraihu Gerinan. We are dragged after them. In other words, it's not like when it comes to a Taanit Yochid where maybe you have to be Makabel the day before, as we saw earlier, either Zman Mincha, like Mincha Gedola, or during Tfilas Mincha. Here, because it was a Gezerah, not as a Yochid, but more for the community, therefore, even though we just found out in the morning, we also fast. The Bein Nesiya goes our Tinisa, the rain didn't come. So Tana Lahu Oishia Zeira. So it's learned by Oishia Zeira, the Min Chabroya, the following pasuk. V'haya im me'ene ha'eda nesasel l'shgaga. So what did he darshan? He says if the eyes of the Ada has done something inadvertent. So mashal akala shehi bebeisavia. You have a girl who's in her father's house. Kolzman she'ineha yafos. As long as her eyes are nice, in kogufa sricha b'dika. You don't have to look anywhere else. If you can look at their eyes, you can see that they're fine. Terutos kogufa sricha b'dika. If there is something wrong with the eyes, then there must be an indicator of something wrong with the whole body. And someone who, like, for example, a person who's a drunk driver, you can look right into their eyes. You can see the person through the eyes of how a person really is. So the ikr is the eyes. So what exactly is this referring to? So Rashi says, which is actually question 13, which asks, Mahu nimshul. This is the mashal about this Kala and her beautiful eyes. So Rashi says, Hoyel v'hanhu debei nesiya da ve'eni ha'eda rishayim dalas ha'am in srichin livdaik ma masem kach lo me'ashkachu b'hu min hashemayim. So all you need to do is look at the eyes, and once you know the leaders, if there's a problem with the leaders, then it shows that there's probably something wrong with the whole body. And therefore, that's the reason why that we weren't answers, because of the fault of the leaders. Asa abde v'ramule sudra b'tzavare. So they took a kerchief around the person's neck because to speak like this. V'kamet they started causing him pain. Amule b'ni Masya, the people of the city, said, Shafki, leave him alone. The Konami Mitzarwan, that he also pains us. Kivan de Chazin and the Chol Mili L'Shim Shemayim Lo Amruli Midi Mishavkinin Le. So Atoinami Shavkuhun. Whatever he says is L'Shem Shemayim. And the truth is that he also has caused us pain, but he does everything L'Shem Shemayim. So as we left him alone, so should you. Rabbi Gazer Tanisa V'Lo Yasem Mitra didn't rain. Nachas Kamei Ilfa. He went in front of Ilfa, who we saw before. He ended up going to business, and because of that he felt bad, but he didn't forget his learning. B'Yamlo Rabbi Ilfa Amr Mashiv Ruach V'Nasa Zika Mordegashim Yasem Mitra. All he said was these few words, and all of a sudden they were immediately answered with rain. So Amalei my avadach, what do you do that you were answered so quickly? So Amalei diarna bekusta. I live in a village, dechika, that's very poor. Deleis be chamra lekidusha v'avdalta. And no one even has wine for Kiddush Abdallah. Tarachna v'yasina chamra lekidusha v'avdallah. I make sure that they have wine for Kiddush and Havdalah. So in the schus of thinking about another person, so therefore Hashem also thinks about them. And therefore they're able to fulfill their obligation with this wine. Rav Iklam Alahu Asra, he went to the city. Gazer Tanisa V'Lasamit, didn't rain. Nachas Kamei Shlicha the Tzibora. And Amr Mashivuach Manasa Zika, Amr Madagashem Yasamitra. All of a sudden, this person who started praying immediately was answered. So Amalei Maya Vadach. What do you do? Why is Hashem so quick to answer you? It's an unbelievable answer. Amalei, I'll tell you what my profession is. Miyarki Dardiki. I am someone that teaches young children how to read. I am a teacher. So what's so special? I help the poor just like the wealthy. And someone who can't afford my services, I let them learn for free. And because of that schus, that he's willing to teach, even though he won't even take money, and he won't show any favoritism for someone who's wealthy over someone who's poor, then God causes it to rain for that person. Furthermore, easily Perud de Kabri, I have this pool of fish. V'cholman de pasha, anytime, let's say, a child misbehaves, instead of me punishing him, meshachadinale, I bribe him minayu from these fish. Umesadrinale, umafaisinale adiyasavikari, until he finally starts reading. So instead of me admonishing and punishing my students for misbehaving, what I do is I engage in positive reinforcement and get them to want to learn. Rav Nachman Gazer Tinisa Bob Rachme V'Lasamitra. It didn't rain. So Omar, he said, Shalkuho Nachman Chavotim Gudal Ara. So let's remove this person that goes from the roof to the ground. Cholish Daiti V'Lasamitra. Again, he felt bad the way that he framed it, and therefore, because of that, that's the time that it began to rain. Rabbi goes to Tanisa by Rachme V'Lasamitra. Again, even Rabbi didn't rain. Amrule v'ho Rabbi Yehuda ki havi gozer Tanisa asamitra. However, when it came to Rabbi Yehuda, it would start raining right away. That's brought down in Gemara Brachos. Amrulhu ma evid. What should we do? Imishum tenuya ana difina minayu. We actually are more knowledgeable in our learning. Dibishnei de Rabbi Yehuda kol tenuye. All of the learning in the generation of Rabbi Yehuda, as we continue to Chavdalim Mabez, was only b'nezikin havi. Was only in Seder Nezikin. How that's all they would learn. They would only learn Seder Nezikin. V'anan ka masninan b'shita sedrin. But we learn all Shisha Sidri Mishnah. So it's not the quantity. V'chi havi mater Rabbi Yehuda b'uksin. When he would get to Masechtas Uksin, which again, that's not in Seder Nezikin, so it's like, what do you mean it's all in the Seder Nezikin? It's an interesting question. Ha'isha shekoy veshes yarak, a woman who pickles a vegetable b'keder in a pot. V'yirmul zaysim shekovshin b'tarpehen. You have olives that are like pickled in their skins to hirin. So he says that this is tar. Summer, he would say, Havi de Rabbi Shmuel kachazin hach. There's so many questions of Rabbi Shmuel that are over here. It's something which is extremely difficult for me to understand. V'anan kamastisin b'uksin tliyasim asifta. But we were in uksin in 13 different yeshivas. This is not something which is such a big deal. So our quantity is better, our quality is better. So look at Rashi. What is this whole notion of why is it tahar? Hayadais. There's the handle holding it. It's not considered to be a base yad like you're holding it, therefore it's not it's not tameh. Only something which has a chizas yad is tameh. Okay, so the question is, so why was he answered so fast if his quality and quantity of learning in that generation was less? So how do we understand this? After all, If he only removes one shoe, asimitra, v'anan kasavchinan kol yom, we cried all day, v'leikad yashachban, Hashem doesn't listen to us. So, imishum uvdin, imishum dechaza midi, if it's because of our actions, if anyone knows of anything, lema, tell us. Avama yasu, gedayu hador, shein darin daima yafet. What does that mean? So, this is a Rashi on this. Mayasu Gedoyli Hador Shein Dairin Daimin Yafe. So the generation is not on the same level, basically, is what is being said. Okay. That's interesting. The Gemara in Brachos says it has to do with whether they're Moishe Nafshayu al Kiddush Hashem. But over here it says Mayasu Gedoyli Hador Shein Dairin Daimin Yafe. That it has to do with the people of that generation. Rabbi Hudacha's Han who Beitrei saw two people, the Havika Partsi Barifta. They were playing with bread. Amr Shmamina Ika Sabab Alma. Must be that there's a lot of food in the world. So Yoiv Eine, he cast his eyes on this, and Havi Kafna became a famine. Amr Rabban Rav Kahana Bereda Rav Nechunya Shamya Mardashchiach Kamei, you that you're constantly by him. Nasil delepik bepischa the samachashuka. Go out to the opening near the marketplace. Ase benafik ushuka, he went there to the market. Chaza kanufya, and again he saw that there was this famine. Armahu ma'ihai, what's going on? Shemalei achuspa de tamri kaimi. He says says Rashi, al kli mole tamarim, a vessel filled with dates, or maybe leftovers of the dates, the ka mizdabin that are being sold. Amr shmamina kafna ba'alma, it must be that there's a famine in this world. If they're selling even the psilus, the leftovers. So Amrli Shami Shalfli Masani, remove one of my shoes. So Shalfli Chad Masani took it off. The Yosemite started to rain. Kimatul Mishlav Achrina. He was about to take the other shoe off. Asa Eliyahu v'Amrle Amar Kodesh Baruch Hu I Shalfis Achrina. If you remove the other shoe, then Macharivna Alma. The world's going to get destroyed. In other words, it's going to be such a massive downpour that the world will be destroyed. So keep the other shoe on. Amra Mari Barad Bashmuel Ana Havi Kamina Aguda Nahar. I was by the banks of the river. I saw these angels that appeared as sailors. The Kamaisi Chala Umaluhu La'arbe, they took the sand and they put it onto their boat. Nabi Kimcha Tzmida, and it turned into fine flour. So Asu Kuli Alma de Mizbin, everyone wanted to buy it. Amalu Mahal Loi Tizbenu and Damasinisimhu. Don't buy this flour because it was through a miracle. Lamachar Asin Arbe Dechite de Parzina. However, the next day a boat came with regular flour and people were able to purchase that. Rava Ikla Lahagornia. So he went to this location. It says Rashi by Masinisim. Better to distance yourself from there. So Gozer Tinisa Velasimitra. So Rava, again, it didn't rain. Even he made a gezerah. So Armulahu, so he said, Bisu Kuliyalma Betani Saichu. So even though we weren't defective, let's not eat, but rather let's everyone go to sleep and sleep while fasting. Lamachar, next morning, Armulahu, Mi'ika Dechazichelma, did anyone see a dream? Lema, tell us. Sarmulahu Rebbe Lezer Mehagornia, Ledidi Akroin Bechelmi, in my dream I heard the following: Shalom Tav, L'Rav Tav, peace, good peace will be for the good leader. Merivan Tav, from the good master. Metiv L'Ame, that he's going to do good for his nation. Somer Shmamina Isratzan he mi boy rachmi vasimitra. It was clearly a good sign, and therefore it started to rain. Hahu Gavr Diachayev Nagde Bebeidina. The Rava. There was a person that deserved malchus, lashes in Rava's basin. Mishum Debal Kusis, because he had relations with a Kutit woman. So Nagdi Rava Mace. He gave him Malchus, but maybe he misassessed him and he died. So Ishtama Milsa B'Shibur Malka. So they heard about this and Ba'alat Suri Rava. They wanted to punish Rava for having killed someone. He had no authority to do so. So Amalei Ifra Hormiz, which is Ime de Shibur Malka Libra. So Ifra Hormiz, who was the mother of Shibur Malka, wanted to make sure that he did not end up harming him. Fine, Rava, and therefore Libra lo yahavu lach asik devarim bahadi hudoi. You shouldn't get involved in these Jews. The kolman deboyin mimarayahu yoyev lahu. Anything that they ask from their master, from God, Hashem will give them. So it's better not to start up with him. Armula mahi bayin rachmi v'asimitra. They ask for rain and it comes. Sarmle hahu mishum dezimna demitrahu. That's just because it's the normal time it's supposed to rain. If you know it's going to rain, you can see the forecast is supposed to rain almost, and you start davening for rain. So it's not because of you. El barachmi ha'idna. Let them ask now. But the kufas tamas leisi mitra. Let them pray during a time in which it normally does not rain. So shalchule l'Rabba kivan kivin daitoch uboy rachmi de leisi mitra boy rachmi loasi mitra. So again, he had to try to prove that Hashem would answer him even during this time of the year. But it didn't rain. Armul Afanov. So Rabbi said, Rabbi Shalom, Elokim baznenu shamanu avosenu sipru lanu poel poalta. You have done wonders b'yamehem in your days b'yamei kadem. The anu b'nenu lo re'inu, but we, our eyes, do not see. Asamitra. So when he quoted that pasuk, all of a sudden it rained. So much, ad shafuch marzavei de tzipori, with diglas, until the gutters ended up pouring out into the Diglas River. Asa avuha ischazli b'chalmi. He saw in a dream be'armule miika de mitrach kamei shmai kuli hai. Is there someone that was supposed to trouble Hashem like this? Armule shani duchte, change your place, because what you did by davening for rain at this absolutely wrong time is going to probably put you in danger by the Malchi Chavala, the Malcha Maves. So he went to a different place. Ashche de Mirsham Purye Besikine. He saw that his bed was filled with swords. So it was good that he moved. Rapapa goes at Tinis of Asamitra. So he also asked for, he made a gzera that they should fast, but it didn't help. Cholish Libe, he felt bad and hungry. So what he did was sharp pincha de daisa. He ate like a spoonful of food. After he ate a little bit, he went back and davened. So Armuli Rav Nachman bar ush pazti ish sharif mar pincha achriti. If let's dedaisi, why don't you maybe have another spoonful? Why don't you eat even more than asimitra? Maybe that'll really help. She was kind of like making fun of him, saying the fact that you ate, that was not the right thing to do. So now what? You think Hashem's going to answer you? Of course not after you ate. So what are you going to do? You're going to eat more? You think Hashem's going to answer you? So ichsif v'cholosh daiti v'yasimitra. He felt embarrassed and he felt bad, and because of that, that's when the rain came. Rav Chanina ben Daisa. Now we have the numerous stories about the great Rav Chanina ben Daisa. Havi ka'ozu b'orcha. He's traveling on the road. Asa mitra, and start to rain. Armo fanu b'bayna shalom. Kolum kula b'nachas Rav Chanina ben Tsar. Everyone's sitting at home, relaxing, and I'm stuck outside getting poured on. So pasuk mitra, rain stopped. Kimat l'beisi went home. Doesn't seem very fair. Everyone is all stressed out because it stopped raining. So Asa Mitra, then all of a sudden started to rain. Amr Rav Yosef, Maya Hanile Salusa the Kohen Gadol Gabriel Chanina ben Daisa. The great Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur, as great as he was no match to the tefillah of Rav Chanina ben Dosa. Did not. The Kohen Gadol would say a special prayer. And my matzli, he would say, what would he daven? So Ravin Borada Rava Borada the Amritivayu Mishmei Bihudi, he wrote some of Nachashem Elkenu Shetei Tashana Zu. It says, let it be that this year should be Geshuma Ushchuna, rainy and hot. So Shchuna Mal Yasehi. Why is it a great thing that's hot? Adarab and Girusahi, it's not good. Ella Im Shchuna, if it is hot, Tehei Geshuma, at least let it be with rain. With Tulula and with dew. And Hashem, do not listen to the prayers of the Oivei Drachim who don't want it to be raining on them. Don't listen to those people's tefillos. So obviously that was not effective in comparison to Rav Chanina ben Dosa, who's davened on the road that the rain should stop. Rav Achabar, the Rabbi Masai Mishmei, the Rabbi Yehudi would finish it up and say, Lo yedi avid sholtan midbeis Yehuda, that it should not be removed the ruler from the house of Yehuda. Let it be that we should not have to come on to other people for sustenance, not ourselves and no one else. Okay, we'll stop there. Let's see, maybe we have a couple more questions. Question 14. Alman ninzaf rava min hashamayim. So why did Hashem get so angry he ended up sticking swords in his bed? Al Shabikesh Geshamim Batalmuz, he wanted to rain even the month of Talmuz. We didn't need the rain, but he did it just in order to be able to basically save himself from when he ended up hitting this person too hard and he ended up dying. So therefore, because of that, it was actually wrong to be Matriach Hashem in that particular circumstance. TA 12. Eza salus to the Kohen Gadol b'Yom Kippurim. So what is the prayer, which is again, please don't listen to Oivei Drachim. Bit Rav Chanina ben Dosa. So he says like this. That's the whole answer. TB 14. Mahaisa milas iso hamalamid durdiki she yayirid shliach tzibur kamei nerab batainis kasham v'schuso noisa. What was so great about this teacher? Either that he did not take money from the poor, and he used to also give gifts to his students so that they would be able to learn. Question 321, a new fresh question. Ma habir zaysim shekavshin b'tirufehim tahirin umadua. A great question because it's a Farish Rashi we need to know. So as we said, she'en hayadais, the handles of these foods, are not meviin tuma lazaysim. They don't bring tuma to the olives. Kivan de acher shekavshin, after you've already pickled in ruin l'mahavi beis yad. It's no longer fit for it to be a beis yad. So only when it's a beis yad, the beis yad is matama, the thing that you're holding, that using it as a handle for. So that beis yad can be matama thing which it's attached to. But because it's not roy to be a beis yad, once you've pickled it, therefore it is tahar. Adkan.